Welcome back to our channel, English with Ethan. In this video, we're sharing the powerful story of a boy who couldn't find the right words when he needed them the most. He was smart, hardworking, and full of ideas. But whenever it was time to speak, his mind would go blank. Until one day, everything changed. This is the story of Ethan and how he learned to think fast and speak smart. Let's begin. Part 1. The day Ethan froze, and the world kept moving. Ethan was 22 years old. He was smart, not the kind of smart you see in movies, but quiet smart. He loved to read. He loved solving problems. But when it came to speaking in front of people, Ethan was stuck. He had a good job at a tech company. He worked hard and stayed late. But no one noticed him, because he never spoke up. Until one day, his manager asked him to speak in a team meeting. The freezing moment. It was a normal Monday. Ethan was having coffee in the office lounge. His boss walked in and said, "Ethan, you've done some great work last week. Can you explain your idea in today's meeting?" Ethan smiled and said, "Sure." But inside, he was panicking. What will I say? What if I forget something? What if I look stupid? The clock moved faster than his thoughts. Soon, it was time. He stood in front of 12 people. Some nodded. Some looked bored. All eyes were on him. He opened his mouth. So, I think the project, maybe we can... His mind went blank. He couldn't find the words. His voice cracked. His hands trembled. His manager smiled politely, then said, "No problem, Ethan. We'll come back to you later." But they never came back. The meeting ended. People left. And Ethan sat alone, staring at his notebook. He felt like a failure. The pain after the silence. That evening, Ethan walked home in silence. I knew what I wanted to say, he thought. So why couldn't I say it? He looked at himself in the mirror that night and whispered, "I'm not stupid. I just freeze." It wasn't a lack of intelligence. It was a lack of confidence and speed. He was tired of being the quiet one, tired of letting others speak over him. That night, he made a promise to himself. I will learn to think fast. I will learn to speak smart, even if it takes everything. Why smart people stay silent? Ethan wasn't alone. There are millions like him, people who have great ideas, good hearts, sharp minds, but still stay quiet because their brain moves slower than the moment. This moment was Ethan's breaking point, and also his starting point. Part 2. The day Ethan trained his brain. Like a muscle. This part of the story shows how he began. Day 1. The search for a solution. After the meeting disaster, Ethan didn't sleep well. He opened his laptop and typed, "Why do I freeze when I speak? How to think fast under pressure? How to speak smart in English?" Most answers were too complicated. Big words, fancy techniques, useless advice. But one answer stood out. Train your brain like you train your body. That one line lit a fire inside him. Ethan whispered, "Maybe I don't need to be born smart. Maybe I can build it." His first breakthrough, the 5-second rule. He found a technique called the 5-second rule. It said, the moment you want to speak, count backward, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just speak. It sounded simple. Too simple. But Ethan decided to try. The coffee shop test. Next morning, Ethan walked to a coffee shop. He saw the barista and told himself, "I will ask something extra. Not just one coffee, please. I'll ask, what's your favorite drink here?" He stood in line. His hands were sweating. His brain said, "Don't do it. Just order and leave." But he took a deep breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And said, "Hey, quick question, what's your favorite drink here?" The barista smiled and replied, "Oh, I love the caramel oat latte. Want to try it?" That was it. Simple, but powerful. Ethan felt like he had just climbed a mountain, not because of the words, but because he acted instead of freezing. The Daily Brain Gym. Ethan turned his brain into a gym. Every day, he did 3 things. 1. Daily speaking challenges. He gave himself 1 small speaking challenge per day. Ask a stranger a question. Say thank you with eye contact. Tell his opinion in 1 sentence. He didn't wait for big moments. He practiced small ones. 2nd, rapid question drills. Every morning, he asked himself 10 random questions and answered fast. What's your favorite movie? What did you eat last night? What makes you angry? He had 5 seconds to answer each. If he paused too long, he moved on. This trained his brain to respond fast, not perfectly. 3rd, mirror talk with a timer. He stood in front of the mirror with a timer. Talk for 1 minute about any topic. No stop, no thinking, just talk. He made mistakes. He laughed. He got better. The power of progress, not perfection. After 7 days, Ethan felt something new. He wasn't scared to speak. He didn't freeze like before. His answers were not perfect, but they were natural. He realized something powerful. Thinking fast doesn't mean having all the answers. It means not being afraid to try. His new mindset: action over anxiety. Ethan no longer waited for the perfect moment. He created moments. If he had a question, he asked it. If someone greeted him, he responded with energy. If he didn't know a word, he used another one. And the 5-second rule became his best friend. It broke the wall between thought and speech. Don't overthink, just begin. Part 3. The day Ethan faced his fear and stood tall. Now, life had a bigger test waiting for him. The surprise announcement. It was a normal Thursday at work. Ethan walked into the office holding a small cup of coffee. Just like always. He was feeling better these days. He was slowly becoming more confident in meetings, even sharing short ideas. But then, his manager made an announcement. Tomorrow, we have a client call at 10 a.m. Ethan, I'd like you to give a short 5-minute presentation about the project. The room went quiet. Ethan's heart dropped. Me? Present? In front of the client? He nodded politely and said, "Sure, I'll be ready." But inside, he felt like the old fear was back. The panic returns. Briefly. That evening, Ethan couldn't focus. His hands were cold. His mind raced. What if I forget? What if I freeze again? What if I embarrass myself in front of everyone? But this time, he didn't spiral into fear. He opened his notebook and wrote 5 words. Prepare. Practice. Pause. Pace. Purpose. These were his new tools. He was not the same boy who froze before. He had trained. He had grown. Now it was time to apply it. Ethan builds his first smart speech. He didn't try to memorize anything. Instead, he focused on 3 clear things. 1. The structure. He followed a simple format. Start with a short story. Explain the main point in 3 steps. End with 1 strong sentence. The practice. He stood in front of the mirror, spoke out loud, timed himself, recorded himself, watched the video, corrected his pauses, smoothed his tone. He practiced 4 times, not to sound perfect, but to sound calm and clear. 3. The mindset. He reminded himself, the client is not here to judge my English. They want to understand the project. If I speak with purpose, they will listen. This gave him power. The big day. The next morning arrived. 10 a.m. The video call began. Ethan's hands were sweating, but he kept breathing deeply. His heart was fast, but his thoughts were focused. The manager smiled and said, "Okay, Ethan, you're up." Ethan looked into the camera and said, "Good morning. Last year we had a small idea. Today, that idea is a working system. Let me tell you how we got here." And just like that, he began. The magic of smart speaking. He didn't rush. He didn't use big words. He didn't try to impress. He spoke like he was telling a story to a friend. Short sentences, clear ideas, natural pauses, confident tone. He used his hands gently. He smiled when needed. He made eye contact with the camera, and when he finished, he ended with, "Thank you for listening. Let me know if you'd like me to explain anything again." Silence. Then, smiles. His manager clapped. The client said, "That was simple, clear, and very helpful. Thank you, Ethan." Ethan leaned back in his chair. For the first time, he felt free. What changed that day? It wasn't just a 5-minute speech. It was proof. Proof that his brain was ready. His fear was smaller than his will. His voice deserved to be heard. He didn't need to speak fast. He needed to think clearly and speak with purpose. And he did. Part 4. When one voice inspires many. Ethan builds a circle. In the last part, Ethan faced one of the biggest fears of his life. A surprise presentation in front of a client. But this time, he was ready. He didn't try to speak fast. He didn't try to be perfect. He spoke with purpose, using everything he learned. And for the first time, people listened and respected his voice. But something even bigger was about to happen. 1 week later, a quiet knock. One evening, a coworker named Liam came to Ethan's desk. He looked nervous. He whispered, "Hey, can I ask you something? That presentation you gave, how did you do that without panicking?" Ethan smiled. He remembered those days, when he was the one afraid to speak. He asked Liam, "You feel nervous when speaking too?" Liam laughed softly and said, "Every time. I freeze. My brain stops working." Ethan nodded and said, "I know that feeling. I lived in that feeling." There was a long pause. Then Liam said, "Can you teach me what you did?" And that's how it started. From learner to leader. Ethan never imagined he could teach others. He was still learning himself, but he decided to try. So the next day, he sent a message to 4 co-workers. "Hi, I'm starting a small group to help each other think fast and speak better. No pressure, just support and practice. Let me know if you'd like to join." All 4 said yes. By the end of the week, 9 people had joined. The first Speak Smart Circle. Ethan booked a small meeting room. No projector, no stage, just chairs in a circle. He started the session with one sentence. "You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing." Everyone relaxed. He introduced the 3 simple rules. 1. No judging. 2. Everyone speaks for at least 1 minute. 3. Mistakes are part of the process. Then he gave the first challenge. Speak about your favorite movie for 60 seconds. One by one, people stood up. Some forgot words. Some laughed nervously. Some spoke too fast. But they spoke. And when they sat down, everyone clapped. Genuinely. Because this wasn't a test. It was a safe place to grow. Week by week, voice by voice. Every week the group grew, from 9 people to 20, from 20 to 35. People from different departments started joining. Programmers, designers, marketers, admin staff, all with the same fear. Speaking. Ethan introduced new activities, speed-talking games, problem-solving in 2 minutes, answering random questions under pressure. He gave no grades, no ranks, just support and encouragement. People who never spoke in meetings started speaking with confidence. Even managers noticed the change. Ethan learns even more. While helping others, Ethan discovered something powerful. The best way to grow fast is to help others grow with you. He wasn't just improving his own confidence, he was building a community of voices. Now, when someone asked a question in meetings, it wasn't just Ethan who spoke. Liam did. Sarah did. Ava did. Everyone was changing. And Ethan became the spark behind it. Why this matters to you? If you're watching this video right now and thinking, I don't speak English well, I can't speak fast, my ideas get lost, then remember, Ethan was you. But he didn't wait to be perfect. He started small, trained daily, and helped others along the way. That's what made the difference. Not the words, not the grammar, but the courage to begin and the heart to share. One voice can inspire many. Ethan didn't become famous. He didn't write a book. He didn't give TED Talks. He didn't become a CEO. But in one office, one group, one circle, he changed how people felt about speaking, and that matters more than any award. Part 5. The Night That Changed Two Lives. When Ethan became a brother, not just a leader. Now something personal was about to test him again. This time, it wasn't about clients, or meetings, or co-workers. It was about someone closer to his heart. A message from his sister. It was Friday evening. Ethan had just returned home after leading another great session at work. His phone buzzed. A message from his 19-year-old sister, Emily. Hey, I have a university interview tomorrow. They want me to speak in English. I'm scared. Can I come over? Ethan paused. This was personal. Emily had always been shy, especially with English. Even in school, she would write good answers, but never speak in front of the class. Now she had to face an interview in English, in less than 24 hours. Ethan replied, "Come right away, I've got you." That night at Ethan's apartment, Emily arrived with tears in her eyes. "I don't know what to say, my brain just freezes." Ethan smiled gently and handed her a glass of water. He said, "I know that feeling. I've lived that feeling, but I also learned how to break it." She asked, "How?" He looked at her and said, "Let me show you. Right now, tonight, I'll teach you what no school ever did." Lesson 1. Forget the English first. Ethan said, "The first thing we'll do is stop worrying about grammar. Don't focus on speaking correct English. Focus on speaking clear English." Emily was confused. "Isn't grammar important?" Ethan smiled. "It is, but not now. Right now, your job is to connect, not impress. The people in that interview want to see your confidence, not your commas." Emily nodded. Lesson 2. Use the 30-second formula. Ethan gave her a paper. He had written this. Start, point, reason, close. He explained, when they ask you a question, answer it like this. Start with a clear sentence. Give your main point. Add one reason or example. End with a short closing sentence. He showed an example. Question. What's your favorite hobby? My favorite hobby is reading. I enjoy it because it helps me relax and learn. For example, I just finished a book about space and science. Reading always gives me peace and knowledge. Emily was shocked. That sounds so easy. Ethan nodded. Because it is. Don't make it harder than it is. Speak like you're sharing, not performing. Lesson 3. Mirror practice with emotion. Then, Ethan took her to the bathroom mirror. He said, "Look at yourself. Talk to yourself. Smile at yourself. Say your answers out loud, not once, but 5 times." Emily began to speak. She made mistakes. She laughed. She hesitated. But with each try, her voice grew stronger. Lesson 4. Speak from the heart. Ethan sat next to her and said, "You don't have to sound perfect. You just need to sound real." He gave her 3 questions to answer. Why do you want to join this university? What is one challenge you've overcome? What are you passionate about? Emily took a deep breath and answered each one. Her answers were simple, honest, beautiful. Ethan listened with pride. See, that's what they want. Not perfect words, but real stories. The morning of the interview. Emily wore a clean white shirt and light makeup. Her eyes were calm, not confident, but brave. Ethan hugged her before she left. Remember, speak to connect, not to impress. Pause, smile. Speak your truth. She smiled. Thank you for everything. The message that made him cry. 3 hours later, Ethan was walking in the park when he got a message. I did it. I didn't freeze. I smiled. I shared. I was me. They said I was one of the most confident students they met today. Ethan stopped walking. He sat on a bench, and for the first time in a long time, he cried. Not because he was sad, but because he realized something powerful. The voice he built had helped build another. Dear viewer, you may think you're slow. You may think your English is not enough. You may think you don't belong in rooms where others speak fast. But here's the truth. You don't need to speak fast. You need to speak with purpose, with clarity, with confidence. And if Ethan, a silent boy who once froze in fear, can train himself to think fast and speak smart, then so can you. Train your brain, practice your voice. And one day, your words will not just help you, they'll help someone else too. This is not just the end of Ethan's story. It's the beginning of yours. Go speak, go try, go grow, because your voice matters. If this story touched your heart and gave you the courage to speak, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We're here to help you grow one English word at a time.